Good evening, everybody. Dutyron here, retired New York City police detective. And if you like everything in regards to true crime, in regards to current events that are going on, broken down by a New York City police detective, someone who has experience in the law enforcement field for 20 plus years, then please hit the subscribe button. Please hit your notification bell, and we'll give you lots of content going forward in regards to those topics. Right now, we're going to talk about updates on Jeffrey Epstein, and we're going to get right into it right now. Jeffrey Epstein, billionaire or millionaire financier, found dead on Saturday in his jail cell in the MCC, Manhattan Correctional Center. This is a federal correction facility. Autopsy results are not out. We spoke about it on the last video. But I want to talk to you about the breaking news that people are speaking about now that I saw today is that supposedly from his cell within the jail. Now, again, guys, some people mistake prisons and jails. They're two separate things. The jails, obviously, we all know when you go to jail, it's the preliminary part before you get sentenced, and or if you get convicted and sentenced, you go away to prison. And prison is where most people do extended time. And in the city, if you're charged on a city level and you get convicted and you got, a sentence of say 5 or 10 years, they don't keep you in a city jail. They'll put you up in Rikers Island, and then they'll send you up to a state prison. This is a federal jail. This is just before a trial would start or any type of proceeding. So it's just a temporary place. But allegedly, the reports are coming out now that correction officers heard screams and yelling sounds from his jail cell, and they rushed over to find him not breathing. And there was supposedly some type of communication between the jail guards and Epstein was unconscious, but they were basically saying to him, "Come on, Epstein, breathe, breathe, breathe." There's a whole, report that leaked out to the press, and the press is all over it. So I want you guys to listen to a short audio clip from former Mayor Rudy Giuliani, who's now Trump's attorney. He's representing President Trump in as an attorney. I think that's what his role is within the White House. So he did a quick news briefing with one of the local affiliates. So it's a little bit long, but I want you guys to listen to the audio because I think it's important. It'll clarify. It'll give you some clarity in regards to what was heard and what is being reported by correction officials. And let me just quickly say thank you to all my new subscribers, my Patreon people, and everyone that's coming in to view this video. So thank you to my replays, the people who watch the videos in its entirety, the people who leave the comments in the comments section below. The subscribe button, I think, is somewhere around here, or maybe here. I think it's over here. Who knows? But hit that subscribe button and hit your notification bell so you get all the notifications. I'm going to let you listen to a couple of minutes of this, and then we will go from there. But I think it's important you guys hear this. This is about the in regards to the what happened when responding jail officers came up onto Jeffrey Epstein. And I know none of us are losing sleep over this, but there are all these theories that are out there that he's alive and well and he escaped and he was killed and it was a contract hit. We don't know. I'm going to use caution here, and I'm going to wait until all the facts come out before I start drawing conclusions. So I'm going to let you listen to this just for a couple minutes, and we'll go from there. So you'll be forced to look at me for a little while we play this.
Federal prosecutor in Manhattan before becoming the mayor of this great city, and nice to see you, and good morning.
Bill, how are you?
The Metropolitan Correctional Center, known as the MCC, Lower Manhattan, you know it well.
I saw it being built.
You saw it being built.
Yeah. Sure, it's connected to the U.S. Attorney's Office.
How would you explain it to viewers? How would you describe it?
Well,
what's happening on a Saturday night inside this jail?
So it's a jail rather than a prison. So people don't know the distinction between the jail is a place you hold people when they're awaiting trial. A prison is where you put them when they finally get sentenced. Those are more permanent places. Frankly, they're easier to handle, prisons. Jails are harder because they're very transient. Population in, out every day. However, there's absolutely no excuse for this. What happened here, to me, is mind-boggling. It's impossible to happen. It's a relatively small facility. This isn't Rikers Island, which is 15,000 people in virtually a city with many, many different buildings.
On its own island?
Yeah, one building.
Did you hear what he just said? He said this is impossible that this happened. I mean, he was a federal prosecutor at one point, so he knows about the feds and the federal system. The feds are usually like the tightest of all agencies, local, state, and then the feds. And the feds are usually on top of stuff. So this is a big slip up on the Fed part. So let's hear what Rudy has to say about this.
Almost everything is within view, if you want it to be, of the guards.
He's talking about the jail cells.
On suicide watch or not is silly, because if he wasn't on suicide watch, he should have been on watch. The guy was a high-risk prisoner, wasn't he? I mean, he's a guy that there are probably 50 very important people that have a motive to kill him. We don't even know who they are. I'm not alleging that any of the people named, it's true. But we know there are some people that are in a lot of trouble because of Epstein. They know who they are. So there's tremendous motive to kill him.
It's almost like
Number two,
Agatha Christie
whether
novel.
they want to kill him or not, prisoners don't like him. Right? He's alleged to be maybe the most notorious child predator of our generation. Prisoners are strange.
See, I mentioned this in a prior video. I said prisoners do not like child pedos. They don't like sexual predators. And Rudy Giuliani is basically telling it as it is. He's he's been in the crime field his whole entire career. As the New York City mayor, he was one of the toughest mayors on crime. Say what you want about him. He might be a little over the top now, but when it comes to fighting crime, this guy got it done, and he was the one. He was my boss when I started in the early 90s in the police department. So this guy was my boss, and he was instrumental in putting a program together to basically reduce crime tremendously in the city. So he's going to talk now about how prisoners get at child pedos, and it's a known fact. So let's hear him say it.
Perverts they don't like, so they'll kill a pervert just to kill a pervert. Second, he's a possible rat also. There's a lot of talk about him testifying. I believe you have to do that. That's good for the government. They believe you're a rat when you do it. So you got three strong reasons why this man may be done in. He might commit suicide. He apparently attempted it, or he was attacked. That threat still remained even after a week. And the third one is maybe a prisoner on his own is just going to take him out like they did with Whitey Bulger. I do not understand how anyone can explain not having him under 24-hour surveillance or not checking the camera constantly. So that leads to all the speculation that we all are upset about.
The cameras weren't working.
The vacuum for that crazy speculation.
Is there a camera?
Of course there's a camera. It wasn't working, they said. It wasn't working.
It wasn't working for 2 months, that camera.
There's a camera in every part of a prison. Every single telephone call in and out of prison is listened to. Prisons are prisons.
Okay, I got to stop it there because he's wrong about there's cameras are not inside the cells of the regular general population. There's cameras out in the hallways. There's cameras that look at the front of, the cells that have the cameras in them 24/7 are the high risk, suicide watch, those type people. There's cameras in those cells, but in the regular cells, they don't have cameras. It would be a violation of your privacy. And I don't say that there should be any privacy in prison, obviously, but they have to go to the bathroom, and you're going to go do your business, and it's not like it's a stall inside the cell. There's a toilet, as we all see, that's open, and it's not like there's no privacy. So if they had a camera in there inside the cells, it would be pretty surprising. And as of when I retired, which was a little while ago, there was not. inside. I've been in the MCC, and I've seen the prison cells, and I've seen the jail cells and the holding cells, and there's none. They are outside, but there's not any directly inside each one of the cells. All right, let's continue.
Now, the federal prison system, I used to be in charge of it in the Reagan administration, and then I worked with it for 15 years as an assistant U.S. attorney. The federal prison system is the best in the world. When Norman Carlson ran it, he was the head of it all the time I was there.
It's like a
model. It was the model.
There you go.
It's hard for me to believe this could possibly happen.
How about this then, Mayor, on screen? This is what we believe to be the case here. Not placed on suicide watch, not checked for several hours, no cellmate at time of death. One guard was a substitute, guards working maximum overtime shifts.
The last two are no excuse. Whether he's a substitute or not, he has eyes. Epstein was not a tough guy to contain. I mean, if you saw him taking a sheet, anybody of reasonable build or courage could take him down, and he could call for help right away. So whether he was a substitute or not, who cares? That's silly. They were overworked, okay, but this is the prime target prisoner in that prison. Name the one that's in more jeopardy than this guy. And okay, we don't have great sympathy for him because he's a sexual predator, allegedly. But the guy would have been a treasure trove of very important, valuable information about the truth or the falsity. And I happen to believe there's both in these stories that are coming out. There are people that are probably named that did it, and there are people that are probably named that are being horribly defamed. Only he knows it. And he's the kind of guy where you probably couldn't let him out of jail, or maybe you could give him a little light at the end of the tunnel. But maybe you could have appealed to his making it right by telling the truth. Who knows?
You make sure he lives. July 23rd was the incident where he was found in his cell. He either tried to harm himself, or as you point out, perhaps the cellmate was in it to harm him. He was taken off suicide watch a week later, so that's August 1st. He's found dead in his cell on August 10th.
I don't understand. I never heard of the policy you're only on suicide watch for a week. You're on suicide watch for as long as you have the conditions that indicate you might commit suicide. The conditions yesterday or the day before were no different on the day that he attempted suicide, meaning he was in prison. He was looking at a life in prison. He was looking at going from this prison to probably even more rigid conditions of confinement. Tough guy to go to a prison, right? You send this guy into a prison population, they're going to, you know what's going to happen to him, right? So what is he going to do? He's either going to get a terrible death in prison, or he's going to be locked up in solitary confinement for the rest of his life. But that condition remained on the day that they took off the suicide watch. Are they crazy?
With regard
you got to be nuts.
With suicide watch is a conversation. I have a conversation with you. I want to engage.
I love this. I love Rudy. See, that's like putting out for, this news reporter didn't know what to say to that. He basically said taking him off suicide watch was crazy. And really, when you look at it, at the end of the day, us as citizens, Americans, anybody looking at this will say the same thing. That's crazy. Like, he should have been on, because of the first attempt, special watch. He was definitely a target. Even if he wasn't suicidal, he was a target for death because jailhouse justice, as I spoke about, prisoners despise somebody like him. And, I despise somebody like him. We all do. But there's a lot of explaining to do. And those two guards, I don't care what, one is a brand new rookie. It doesn't matter. You're sworn in. You got the training. And the other guy was on massive overtime. That's on the federal prison system. They're going to have a lot of explaining to do. There's going to be a lot of heads that roll. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to get in big trouble within the correctional department. And that's a shame. But it goes to show you that our prison system, obviously, and I never said it was perfect, and nobody in their right mind would say it's perfect. It's less than perfect. Our criminal justice system, the courts and our justice system is less than perfect. But that's what makes us human beings. Nothing that goes on is perfect. But at the end of it all, guys, Jeffrey Epstein is dead. He's not alive and living on an island somewhere, or broken out of jail and is wearing a disguise somewhere. It's been confirmed. His brother Mark, younger brother Mark, identified him at the morgue at the chief medical examiner's office. His fingerprints are taken, DNA is taken, it's a match, it's him. And whether you choose to believe that or not, it's up to you as an individual. I'll never, dog anyone for beliefs or, not trusting, the reports. But we're going to see. I'm going to hold down any type of conclusions until all the cards are laid on the table and full disclosure. I'm interested in seeing the thousands of documents that were released just prior to him taking his life. That would be an interesting thing for me to see. So again, welcome to everyone who has joined in, who's continually here. My moderators, the people who stand by me, the people who send me messages down below in the comments section. I greatly appreciate that. I'm going to keep bringing you updates on Jeffrey Epstein, on this case as they become available, and I'm giving it to you from a law enforcement perspective. If you go back and look at some of my other videos, I actually predicted that this was going to happen, that he was either going to kill himself or be killed. And I felt that because of his situation and all the horrible, heinous crimes that he committed, that's what would happen to him. And that's, sure enough, that's what happened. So, I don't, like I said, I don't shed a tear. I don't feel sorry for him. I feel sorry for the victims. Again, my heart goes out to the young girls who were victimized by this guy. They will not get their day in court, but the civil suit can go forward. For those of you who left me questions in the comment section, civil suits can go forward. Other people that co-conspirators, other conspirators, if they have evidence, again, they did search warrants again at his island in the Virgin Islands, the pedophilia island. They went in there just the other day, I think yesterday, and they were taking out evidence from there. They were back in his Manhattan apartment, and all the case and all the evidence is going to go forward. And if anything, it's going to be easier for the prosecutors to use all the evidence that they've gotten from his estates to go after co-conspirators. People who were partaking in these activities are not off the hook. Just so you know, and I'm telling you, that's not BS. That's the truth. Anybody that it can be proven, and there are obviously the witnesses, the victims. The victims are the biggest witnesses here going forward for other people, these other political or wealthy people or well-known people who engaged in this behavior with this sick, perverted animal. If the victims come forward and there's evidence to document it, they can be brought to justice and prosecuted. And I anticipate that will happen. And I'm actually looking forward to it. Not because I'm looking forward to it for entertainment value, but for the justice, for justice to be served. If there's any other sick, twisted people, just like the female, his assistant, I don't even want to give her any credit. I don't even want to mention her name, but we all know who she is. She should be the next one brought in and locked up and put in jail, because she is just as bad as him. She's just as bad as him in my eyes. And I'm sure I'll get maybe some hate for that, but at the end of the day, she was putting it all together. So she's just as guilty as he is. Again, let me just say thank you to all of my supporters and all the people who send super chat and all kinds of goodness, the emails, the letters. I get a ton of. I got to do a video just on fan mail. I'm going to do that if you guys want to see or hear that. I'll do a dedicated upload on fan mail because I get a ton of it and I respond to it individually through email and back and forth. But I'd like to, if I get the okay from some of these people, I'd like to open up some fan mail and do it live if you guys would like something like that. So send me, again, comments in the comment section. Send me emails, dutyron@aol.com. Dutyron.com is my website for everything crime related and all of my social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, all Dutyron, one word, and you can find me and connect with me on social media. So much love and respect from my house to yours. Thank you to all the replay viewers and people who come into the live premieres. I love that. I love being in there and typing it out to you as we watch together. It's almost like sitting down on and watching a movie, but it's me talking. So much love and respect from New York City to all of you. This is my thin blue line hat, guys. This is my thin blue line. This is representing, for those of you who don't know, this is the blue line for the support of our police. So I'll talk to you guys on the next one, and have a great Tuesday. Peace and love.